I can't recall the last time I played a game that encouraged me to move consistently and quickly, but also at the same time forced me to slow down. As the second release from developer giant Squid, the Pathless tells the story of the Hunter, a young warrior on a quest to cleanse the land of a curse and save its gods. Befriending an eagle born from the essence of the gods, our hero's adventure takes them across grassy fields, atop snowy, treacherous mountains, and through dilapidated temples with the goal of reaching an intimidating, meteoric floating island. The Pathless doesn't hold your hand. It more or less tells you what you need to know and lets you on your way. This introduces what I believe is the strongest aspect of this game, its exploration. In your quest to save the gods, the map is revealed to you bit by bit, revealing collectibles, more places to explore, and more puzzles to solve, slowly ramping up the intimidation factor of each subsequent area. That's not to say this game is difficult. In fact, there are no enemies to speak of, but rather the scope of the world you explore and the hidden collectibles you'll find can make things somewhat overwhelming. Thankfully, that feeling doesn't linger long. To help your traversal, tiny little diamond-shaped targets fill the world as you explore, and with each direct hit from your bow, the hunter gains a large boost of speed along with a refill of your stamina meter, making exploration an enthralling experience. You really feel the sense of momentum as trees, rivers, cliffs, and boulders zoom by in the blink of an eye. The only downside to this feeling is when your stamina bar depletes due to one or two missed targets on your path. Without constant, accurate timing, you miss the targets and end up slowing to an absolute crawl. I'm unsure if these targets are procedurally generated or if they are predetermined on map, as I would find targets in completely random places. Sometimes I would encounter hit after hit with targets never ending, only to come across a large portion of the map filled with emptiness, forcing me to stop, though this could be by design. The Pathless is a lonely game. The second-to-second gameplay wants you to be fast, it wants you to enjoy traversal and attempt to reach new areas, but then it stops abruptly at some points. It may be annoying at first, especially when you're in a groove, but then you look. You look at the rain, the animals here and there that roam the land, you look at the decrepit beauty in the ruins of a war-torn field, and you realize that this world is something that giant Squid wants you to dig around in and learn about. Story isn't something that is directly fed to you throughout this adventure. Littered around the land is evidence of a very violent battle that took place between different forces. Fallen soldiers can be found, and some will have lingering thoughts floating around them that you can read. They tell stories of friends who become enemies, villages that fall, religion, and the evil that swept over this land so quickly and violently. The same evil that has now possessed the four gods who ravaged the land. Piecing all of this together at the start may seem jarring, but constant phrasing and naming of specific characters begin to form a story that becomes heartbreaking, albeit cliché. The biggest downside to the Pathless is absolutely the absence of any sort of combat. For being a hunter, there really isn't anything to hunt, besides the main creatures and the final villain. That of course isn't a problem for every game. Shadow of the Colossus comes to mind a lot when I think of the Pathless, and it's easy to see why. During your travels, there are large storms that idle areas around the world. They randomly disperse and reform to try and capture you. When this happens, your eagle becomes infected and you will have to sneak around and avoid the eyesight of each of the beasts in order to heal him and continue on your journey. Even so, the fights are fairly simple and depend on easy pattern memorization. Bosses have several phases leading to a final blow. The trade-off for the simplistic fight structure of the Pathless is its dazzling spectacle. When you collect enough of the emblems belonging to these beasts, you can then enter the storm once more for a visually spectacular chase and a final fight. As much fun as I had playing the Pathless, it's definitely not a game for everyone. Although there really isn't one game that's for everyone. Giant Squid excels at creating a beautiful land and specific set pieces that instill a sense of loneliness and discovery. If you're looking for an action-packed title, look elsewhere. This is a game to experience, and maybe use as something to cool down from other fast-paced titles. Collectibles be damned, running around the world feels so good that it's tough to not chase after the Platinum Trophy or all achievements on Steam. If you play the Pathless, I hope you enjoy it, and I hope you see what I see when it comes to this vast, lonely open world.